ball movement here for the Spartans into the front court. Akins counted in the foul, and they need him to get going, and he is fired up.
Jace Richardson is just a baller out here.
Bailey is 2 of 11 from the field. Richardson gets inside for 2. He can be so explosive. Got to jump on that left hand.
Right. Again, the zone. That foul line is free.
Edgecombe. Splash City.
If he does that, it's a different world.
Nickel. Isolation. Johnson wants it. Johnson crossover. Johnson driving, hanging and hitting it off the glass and in.
Right the first time. And picked off. Flag on the attack. Look at the slam! And a foul! Oh, my! How about that one?
The mismatch going to be difficult for Guillermo Diaz-Graham to guard him on the perimeter. And then as I'm sure we're going to see that later on SportsCenter.
The second pick will be made by the San Antonio Spurs, and that means that the number 1 pick in the 2025 NBA Draft goes to the Dallas Mavericks.
With the first pick in the NBA Draft, the Dallas Mavericks select...
Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we have a very special video as it is time for me to release my official 2025 NBA mock draft. There's been a lot of trades and chaos over the last 24 hours, so if you guys are interested in seeing any of that and my reactions, be sure to go check out my channel. But I have done a lot of research on this, and I think that I have one of the better mock drafts on the entire internet. So I'm going to be trying to get as many picks as I can get correctly the day after the second round is over. I am going to be coming back and looking at how well I did, and I'm going to be getting 2 points for if I get the pick correct and 1 point for if I get it within 1 pick before or after. So it's kind of going to be like a little bit of a game, but today is my official mock draft. So be sure to stay tuned. I'm going to have a lot of analysis and a lot of what I think for each player and where I have them projected to go. So as everyone knows, the Dallas Mavericks have the first overall pick in the draft tomorrow night. And it is basically a done deal with who they were going to select. Ever since it was announced that they would have the first overall pick in this year's draft, everyone knew that the first overall pick in the draft would be Cooper Flagg. Flagg is a 6'9", 205-pound small forward from Duke University. He was a one and done at Duke. He is going into the league at just 18 years old. And he is a guy that is one of the best defenders in the entire draft class. He can play on the post in defense. He can play on the perimeter, guarding the other team's best player. And he's also got 3-level scoring to his game. He can hit threes, and he's great at getting to the basket. He can also shoot the mid-range well. He fits in very well with Dallas as their starting small forward for next year, and this is a top-level pick for this team that will set them up very well for the future. At second overall, the San Antonio Spurs are on the clock, and I have them going with Dylan Harper out of Rutgers. Harper is a 6'6" point guard who is a natural playmaker. He averaged 19 points, 4 assists, and 5 rebounds per game on 48% shooting in his only season at Rutgers. His three-point shot is a little bit questionable, and it's going to be kind of a weird fit with him, Fox, and Castle, with none of them being able to stretch the floor very well. But I think San Antonio will have to go with the best available player here. Harper has been long considered the number 2 overall prospect. It's kind of teetered between him and Ace Bailey since the start of the college season, but Harper has taken sole control of that second overall spot in the past few days, and it is basically a lock that he will go here, whether it's San Antonio or even if they trade. No matter who is here at number 2 overall, it is pretty likely that it will be Dylan Harper. Number 3 overall, the Philadelphia 76ers are on the clock, and it looked like ever since the draft lottery day that it was a done deal that Ace Bailey out of Rutgers would go here to Philadelphia, but he canceled his pre-draft workout with the team, and I don't think that they are leaning towards him anymore. One of only 3 players that the 76ers brought in for a workout was VJ Edgecombe out of Baylor, and that is who I have them selecting. 6'5" shooting guard from the Baylor Bears, freak athlete, 180 pounds, 19 years old, only spent 1 year at Baylor where he averaged 15 points, 3 assists, and 6 rebounds per game on 44% shooting. He showed that he can shoot the ball kind of well. You can see in the intro of this video him knocking down a 3 in the NCAA tournament. But overall, he's just a crazy athlete. He's gotten a lot of comparisons to a young Victor Oladipo, the freak athleticism, the defense, the hustle, the drive, the passion of a basketball player. That's all things that you want. Edgecombe brings it all, and he is just a crazy high flyer. His jump shot isn't perfect yet, but I feel like he'll be a good fit on this Philadelphia team that already has Grimes and McCain and George to stretch the floor. Next up here at 4th overall is the Charlotte Hornets, and a lot of reporting has said that Kon Knueppel is the likely selection here at 4, but I don't know if that's necessarily who the Hornets are leaning towards. They did not bring in Knueppel for a workout, but they did bring in Trey Johnson out of Texas, so it really is between those two guys, but in my official mock draft, I am going to go with Kon Knueppel because Trey Johnson, I feel like he's kind of what they already have in LaMelo Ball, a super scorer who has good handles that doesn't play much defense. But Kon Knueppel, I mentioned him in my video earlier today of my favorite draft prospects for this year. He is a crazy 3-level scorer, amazing shooter. He can get to the rim, finish well, and he is a 6'7" shooting guard and small forward. Plays good defense, and he is just a natural basketball player. I think the Hornets would be very happy to get him. He's not going to have a clear path to playing time as a day one rookie, but I feel like he will be able to earn a spot over Trey Mann as the season goes on. Next up here at 5th overall, we have the Utah Jazz on the clock. This one is more of a 3-man race between Ace Bailey, Trey Johnson, and Jeremiah Fears. As we all know, Ace Bailey did not work out for any teams in the pre-draft process, but the Jazz brought in both Trey Johnson and Jeremiah Fears for workouts. A lot of reports have been coming out that they are leaning towards Jeremiah Fears, but we do know that Danny Ainge does like to go with guys that don't want to go there, like he did with Jaylen Brown in 2016. It could be a similar situation with Ace Bailey, but I think that the Jazz are going to go with Trey Johnson out of Texas. He is a 6'6" shooting guard who averaged 20 points per game last season in his lone year at Texas. He is kind of like Cam Thomas, where he has great handles and he's an amazing isolation scorer, but he doesn't bring much else to the team. He's not a great playmaker and he's not a very good defender, but his scoring is what he's going to get drafted on, and he's a guy that will be able to help the Jazz playing the shooting guard going forward a lot. Next up here, we have the Washington Wizards, 6th overall. And this one is a place where Jeremiah Fears has been mocked a lot, but I think that it's got to be Ace Bailey. I don't think that the Wizards can possibly let Bailey fall past 6th overall. He is a 6'8", 200-pound small forward, kind of built in the same mold of Kevin Durant and Brandon Ingram. He averaged 18 points and 7 rebounds per game last year as a freshman at Rutgers. And I think that his just ability to... He has great handles, and I feel like his ability to get to his spots, rise up, and hit jump shots over the defense is going to make him an NBA All-Star one day. He's going to fit in very well with this Wizards team that we've seen completely rebuild after they traded away Jordan Poole. He's going to get a lot of opportunities as a rookie to kind of hit out the kinks in his game, and I think it's an A-plus pick here for the Wizards. Next up here, 7th overall, is the New Orleans Pelicans, and this is where it gets kind of tough to mock picks because the Pelicans are a team that just made a trade. Obviously, they traded for Jordan Poole today, who is a point guard, but I think that the Pelicans will still go with Jeremiah Fears out of Oklahoma. Fears is a 6'4" point guard who, as a freshman at Oklahoma, averaged 17 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists per game on 43% shooting. He is a guy that is a good scorer as a point guard. He can shoot threes very well, and he can also get to the rim. He can hit floaters. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Trae Young. The playmaking isn't quite as good, but before I made this video, watching film, he is great at finding his open teammates when they cut. And even though they have Poole, they already have Jose Alvarado and DeJounte Murray. I feel like Poole will play more of the shooting guard next year, letting Fears be the main backup point guard in New Orleans. Here at 8th overall, the Brooklyn Nets come in, and this is really a situation for me between them going with Jaeger Dimon, Kasper Siakouchonis, or Kaman Maluach. The only player out of the three that they did bring in for a pre-draft workout was Jaeger Dimon, who is ranked 15th best available on ESPN's draft board. And I do not think that the Nets will reach that high on a prospect like him, so I think that they will go with Kaman Maluach out of Duke, a 7'2" center from South Sudan. He did only average 9 points and 7 rebounds per game at Duke last year, but he is a very raw prospect who does have a very high ceiling. He is kind of a hit or miss prospect, but if he's developed correctly, he could be an amazing back to the basket center who can put back just about every single shot. Great athleticism, amazing wingspan. The Nets could really find a gem there, and I think this means that they would move off of Nick Claxton. Next up here, we have the Toronto Raptors at 9th overall. There have been a lot of reports that they may go with Carter Bryant out of Arizona, but personally, I believe that they will go with Kasparas Yakuchonis out of Illinois. Yakuchonis did have some turnover issues at Illinois, but he was mainly the lead ball handler as a freshman. He's a 6'6" point guard, and he played the shooting guard as well, averaging 15 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists per game on 44% shooting. He can play the lead guard, although he did have the turnover issues, but he also has gotten compared to guys like Austin Reeves as an off-ball too, well, since he can shoot and also just be a good off-ball player. I think he would fit really well here for a Toronto team that has a need for a shooting guard behind Grady Dick. Next up here, we have the Phoenix Suns 10th overall. They got this trade on Sunday in the Kevin Durant trade. I think that if Derek Queen is still available, the Suns will not think twice about drafting him. He is another one of the guys I mentioned in my video of my favorite prospects in this year's draft. He is an amazing center who is a very offensively skilled guy, great rebounder, and he can really work from all over the court, getting to the basket and also hitting mid-range pull-ups. His three-pointer isn't amazing yet, but he does have a great handle for a 6'10" guy, and he was only a freshman last year, averaging 17 points and 9 rebounds a game, hitting a game winner to send Maryland to the second round of the NCAA tournament. The Suns have zero center depth behind Nick Richards for next year, so they could really use a guy like Derek Queen who's this skilled. Next up here, we have the Portland Trailblazers 11th overall, and I have them going with Carter Bryant out of Arizona. Bryant, as a true freshman last year on a very good Arizona team, didn't play much. He only averaged 7 points and 4 rebounds a game, but he is one of this year's draft's biggest risers. The 6'8" small forward has amazing athleticism. He also doesn't have a terrible jump shot, and he is a great defender. Any team that's drafting him does expect kind of a project type of player, but I feel like the Blazers would be fine with taking him here, and he can learn defensively from Drew Holiday. They also have some good small forwards that he would have to sit behind for a year and develop, but he would have a lot of opportunities to get better playing for a Portland team that is maybe a playoff team next year. Next up, we have the Chicago Bulls here at 12th overall. This is a team that would 100% draft Derek Queen if he was still available, but here in my mock draft, he is no longer available, so I have the Chicago Bulls going with Noah Esingwe out of France, a guy that's become one of the favorite prospects for a lot of analysts here on YouTube. He is a 6'8" small forward, power forward who's kind of built like how Jeremy Sohan was as a prospect. Amazing defender, very versatile, a very raw offensive guy, but he can handle the ball in some situations. Decent shooter, and he can get to the basket. The Bulls don't really have a long-term power forward with them looking to move off of Patrick Williams. Esingwe could be that if he develops right. Next up here at 13th overall, the Atlanta Hawks are on the clock. This is a team that I did have them looking to go with Colin Murray-Boyles out of South Carolina, but earlier today they did make a trade for Kristaps Porzingis, so I am going to be changing up in my mock draft here. I am going to have them go with Jaeger Dimon out of BYU, a 6'9" point guard and shooting guard who set the BYU record for most assists in a season, averaged 11 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds per game on 41% shooting. He is not a great shooter, but his mid-range game is good. He can also get to the basket, has a great size advantage, so if that shot ever comes around, he'll have a great advantage over defenders. Decent defender, but really his playmaking really stands out, so him and Trae Young together is going to be an amazing duo playmaking. Next up here, we have the San Antonio Spurs 14th overall. This is the Atlanta Hawks' original pick. I have the Spurs going with Thomas Sorber out of Georgetown. Sorber last year as a true freshman completely rose onto the scene. No one really knew who he was until he started dominating at Georgetown. He averaged 15 points, 2 assists, and 9 rebounds per game on 53% shooting as a true freshman. He has drawn a lot of comparisons to Roy Hibbert. great rim protector and a freak athlete. He is a guy that will be able to back up Victor Wembanyama for the next few years, especially since guys like Sandro Mamukelashvili and Charles Bassey, who have been backing him up previously, are both free agents this offseason. Now here are the reigning champs, the Oklahoma City Thunder, 15th overall. I have them going with Cedric Coward out of Washington State. Our first guy that is not a college freshman in the mock draft. Coward has risen up draft boards very fast because of his insane combine measurables, crazy good wingspan, and also an insane vertical. He is a freak athlete, and he's kind of a guy that reminds me of when the Thunder drafted J-Dub. So I feel like he could be another guy here on the Thunder's bench that could develop for a few years and potentially be in the role that Cason Wallace is if Wallace ever becomes too expensive. He averaged 18, 7, and 4 last year at Washington State, his only year with the college after transferring in from Eastern Washington. Really good player, but is definitely more of a project type of guy. The Thunder definitely have room for that. Next up, 16th overall, we have the Memphis Grizzlies. I have them going with Asa Newell out of Georgia. Newell last year as a freshman averaged 15 points and 7 rebounds per game and led Georgia to the NCAA tournament where they were a first-round exit. He is a 6'11", 220-pound power forward. He also could play the center, and he's a great defensive player who also is a very good athlete. Is a little bit raw offensively, but the Grizzlies don't need a star on offense with how their team is currently built. He will definitely be a backup behind either Jaren or Zach Edey day one, but he can help the Grizzlies with a few of their needs as a rim protector off the bench, with Aldama not being very great at that. Next up here, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves, 17th overall, and I have them going with Colin Murray-Boyles out of South Carolina. Almost every single mock draft has him going in the lottery. I originally had him going to the Rockets 10th overall, but since they traded out, I have him falling to 17 here to Minnesota. Last year, as a sophomore at South Carolina, he averaged 17 points, 2 assists, and 8 rebounds a night on 59% shooting. He has been long considered one of the most versatile defenders in this entire class, and his offensive game is not going to translate very well to the NBA, but he is a lockdown on defense that can play the 3 or the 4, kind of can be a replacement for Rudy Gobert down the line if they ever do decide to move on from him. Definitely smaller, though. Now here, 18th overall is the Washington Wizards. I have them going with John Behringer out of France. Behringer is a 6'2", 200-pound big man who is just 18 years old. I don't know too much about him, but I have heard a lot about scouts saying he's very raw offensively, but he's a great rebounder and amazing rim protector. So if the Wizards are getting that there, they didn't really have a big man last year. It was kind of just Alex Sarr running the 5. I don't think that they want him to be the true center any time longer. So drafting Behringer here would be a kind of a reach because I have seen a bunch of people having him go in the late first round, but some mock drafts have him going in the lottery. So kind of an odd prospect, but the Wizards could be getting a steal there at 18. Next up here, 19th overall, the Brooklyn Nets are on the clock, and I have them going with a guy that they did bring in for a pre-draft workout, that being Nolan Traore out of France. Traore is a 6'4", 18-year-old point guard who is another guy that's a good playmaker, but he also has some abilities to shoot the ball. I've seen a lot of comparisons comparing him to Lonzo Ball. I kind of do see it. Both are very good at running the lead offense, but can also score at a high level. Traore is one of the guys that I think it has one of the higher upsides in this entire draft outside of the lottery. And the Nets could definitely be getting a steal here with him. He was formerly projected to go in the top 5. Next up, the Miami Heat here, 20th overall. This is a guy that they did bring in for a pre-draft workout, and I feel like is a very good fit here for the Heat culture. I have them going with Jace Richardson out of Michigan State. I have 2 clips of him in this intro to this video because he is really just like that. He's one of my favorite guys in this class. Freak athlete, very good tempo pusher. And he's not going to be a guy that I think is going to start right away or maybe ever in the NBA. But he's a guy that's going to come in and bring the energy off the bench. Kind of what Russell Westbrook did for the Nuggets this year. 6'3", 12 points, 2 assists, and 3 rebounds per game. The son of Jason Richardson. Just a freak athlete that knows how to play basketball the right way. Next up here at 21st overall, the Utah Jazz are on the clock. I have them going with a little bit of a reach here, selecting Will Riley out of Illinois. Riley was a true freshman last year at Illinois, 6'8", 100-pound small forward who averaged 13 points, 2 assists, and 4 rebounds per game on 43% shooting. I have him as the 26th ranked player in my big board, but he has shot up many scouts' big boards because of how well he's done in pre-draft workouts and at the combine. He's very raw, but he definitely does have potential to be a good 3-and-D guy. Next up here at 22, this pick was just traded to the Nets in the Porzingis deal. I don't have any trades here in my mock draft, but if I did, this pick definitely would get moved. But I do have the Nets going with Liam McNeely out of UConn. McNeely is probably the best shooter in this entire class. If not him, then it's Concanipple. But McNeely is a 6'7", 210-pound small forward, played with Cooper Flagg at Montverde. He averaged 15 points, 2 assists, and 6 rebounds per game on just 38% shooting at UConn. Did struggle a little bit, but his jump shot was still very good. He's a very good athlete, and he's a good defender as well. Potentially the best 3-and-D guy in this entire draft class. Next up here, the Pelicans have the 23rd overall pick, and I have them going with the best available guy from my big board, Danny Wolf out of Michigan. A 7-foot-tall, 250-pound center who averaged 13 points, 4 assists, and 10 rebounds per game in his only year with the Wolverines after transferring in from Yale. He is a stretch 5 who can space the floor very well, but also does have a decent ball handler, can play face-up 5 minutes. He is 21 years old, so a little bit older, but I think the Pelicans do need another big man behind Carlo Matkovic and Yves Missi. I don't think either of them are guys that are going to get too much better. Missi definitely does have the higher ceiling, though, but Wolf definitely could have a good role next year in the Pelicans offense. Next up here at 24th overall, I do think that this is a pick that the Thunder will be trading in real life, but since there are no trades in my mock draft, I have the Thunder going with Rasheer Fleming out of St. Joseph's. Fleming is another developmental guy here for the Thunder who averaged 15 points and 9 rebounds per game last year for the St. Joseph's Hawks as a junior. 6'9", 240, kind of a bully ball type of power forward, plays good defense. My pro comp for him was Al-Farouq Aminu. He does have a decent offensive game, a little bit better than Aminu's was, I feel like, but definitely a guy that will need a little bit of work. The Thunder definitely do have time to work on guys at the end of the bench, though. Next up here at 25, I have the Orlando Magic going with Hugo Gonzalez out of Spain. Gonzalez is a 6'6", 205-pound, 18-year-old small forward. I don't know too much about him, but I know that he is a 3-and-D type of guy that could get drafted and stashed because he is definitely a 3-and-D kind of guy. Like, that's what every single draft comp I saw for him was. Hugo Gonzalez, pro comp. I bet all of them are 3-and-D guys. Josh Green, Wesley Johnson, and Austin Reeves. That's all I know about him. 26 here, the Nets are back up yet again, and I have them going with Walter Clayton Jr. out of Florida. The Nets don't necessarily need him. He is a 22-year-old, but he is definitely a guy that's going to go around here, so this kind of is for my points in the mock draft game that I was talking about at the beginning of the video. He did average 18 points, 4 assists, and 4 rebounds per game, though, on the national champion Florida Gators. He won NCAA Tournament Most Outstanding Player, and he is a sharpshooter. That is what he's going to be in the league. He is a sharpshooting guard. Here the Nets are back up 27th overall, and I have them going with kind of a crazy pick here. Going with Yannick Conan Niederhauser out of Penn State. He is a guy that I didn't even know in the pre-draft process. Like, normally I know all the college stars, but he averaged 13 points and 6 rebounds per game as a junior at Penn State last year, and he has completely shot up big boards. He is currently projected to go in the 40s on ESPN's mock draft, but I have seen a lot of great things about him, and the Nets are a natural fit for him. I think that they're willing to reach on him, especially since they would need a developmental guy after going with all. Here at 28th overall is the Boston Celtics. A lot of mock drafts had them going with more NBA-ready dudes before they made these 2 trades the last 2 days. So now I have them going with Drake Powell out of North Carolina. A small forward who is just 19 years old, averaged 7 and 3 last year for the Tar Heels. He's another 3-and-D type of prospect that has a lot of potential in the league. Next up here, the Phoenix Suns at 29th overall. I have them going with Nick Clifford out of Colorado State. Clifford averaged 19 points, 4 assists, and 10 rebounds per game as the superstar player for the Colorado State Rams last year. He is 22 years old, but he is a 6'6", 3-and-D guy who can also get to the rack and is a very versatile defender who carried the Colorado State Rams to the NCAA tournament, where they did unfortunately lose to the other guy that I have the Suns going with in this mock draft, Derek Queen and Maryland. Here at 30, I have the guy going with the Clippers, or the guy to the Clippers that everyone's been mocking, Noah Pinda out of France. I don't know anything about him, so I'm not even going to act like I do, but 6'8", small forward. Everyone's been saying he's going to go here, so we have him to the Clippers.